DATV, and the Greater Dayton Area League of Women Voters present Meet the Candidates, your chance to learn about the candidates running for office in the November election.
Hello, I'm Diane Herman, member of the League of Women Voters of the Greater Dayton area, and I'm here today with the candidates running for Dayton Mayor. Those candidates are Rennis Bowers and Jeffrey J. Mims Jr. Welcome.
Thank you.
So we're going to start our interviews by giving the candidates 1 minute to tell us about themselves and why they want to serve in the position of Dayton Mayor. Mr. Bowers, would you like to start?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. I've served the citizens of Dayton for 30 years as a Dayton firefighter, Dayton Fire Lieutenant, Dayton Fire Captain, Dayton Fire District Chief. I love the people in this city, and as we've gotten involved in this campaign, we've knocked on 7,000 doors, and that's made me love the people even more. People of Dayton are just incredible. That's our number one resource as far as I'm concerned, are the people. And the people in this city are just the most common sense people. They're just like us. They're not radical fringe people on one end or the other. They're common sense people who want affordable housing, want to be able to raise their families, want a safe city. And so I got into the race because of all the deep division in our country. And I was praying, Lord, what can I do? And over a period of time, I felt like I was led to run for mayor, to bring the skill set that I have, which is, I think, unique, to try to solve the problems and make this the city, the gem city that it is.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Bowers. Mr. Mims, you have 1 minute to tell us about yourself and why you're running.
Okay, real long road. Okay, Dayton resident since I was 6 months old. My family moved here from Alabama with me driving the car at 2 months old because I knew I wanted to be in Dayton. There's no one who has my experience and my background. I've been a teacher, I've been a coach, I've been a government relations person for the Higher Education Association as well as the National Education Association. I'm the only person in Ohio who has been president of the Teachers Union and also president of the school board, which denotes my unique set of experiences in terms of moving people together who generally and traditionally are at opposite ends of the totem pole, if you will. At 19 years old, I made a strong decision in 1965, doing some very good times, I guess, if you will, politically, with the Voting Rights Act being recently passed and some other issues that helped move the nation closer together. I volunteered to go to the United States Air Force.
You have to wrap this up, Mr. Mims.
Yes, ma'am. I volunteered to go to the United States Air Force, and then a year later, I volunteered to go to Vietnam because I felt that my country was calling me to make a significant difference as far as this nation is concerned.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I will ask each candidate the same question, and you will have 2 minutes to speak to each question. And then I will move on to the next candidate and also give them 2 minutes to respond. So we have 3 questions. And the first one is for Mr. Bowers first. What should be the priorities for spending Dayton's share of the American Recovery Funds?
Yeah, well, our priorities are public safety. And as we've knocked on 7,000 doors, as I've said, our priorities should reflect what the 7,000 people whose doors we've knocked on are telling us. They want to get rid of these abandoned homes. So getting rid of the blight in the neighborhoods. One of their criticism of the current commission is they've neglected the neighborhoods. Downtown, they've put the money, over $1 billion into downtown. Downtown's looking very nice, but the neighborhoods are blighted. They look like a war zone. If you live in one of these, I've been in all 65 neighborhoods. I've been in over 30,000 houses over a 30-year career as a firefighter. I know the neighborhoods better than any candidate. And these blighted houses, if you live next door to one, you'll never be able to sell your property. It attracts all kinds of vermin, trafficking, drugs, and eventually it'll draw the coroner to take dead bodies out of these buildings. So the neighbors want the abandoned house issue solved. Fix up the ones that we can fix up. I've already been in communication with the county treasurer, working out how we can get the property taxes forgiven on some of these places, because you have to get ownership of them to tear them down or even to fix them up. Many of them have $20,000 liens on them because the property taxes haven't been paid. So we're already in discussion there. We're already in discussion with state representatives on changing the laws to make it easier to get ownership of these properties so that we can move ahead with the abandoned houses. So that's the citizens' number one thing. The second thing the citizens tell us is fix the streets. Now, there's always a flourish of paving going on 30 days before an election. But prior to that, the citizens are wondering, when are you going to fix my streets? And so paving the last month before an election is, the citizens see right through the political shenanigan of that. They're not impressed. And public safety. We want Dayton to be the small business capital of Ohio. You can never attract business when you're considered an unsafe city. So these are the priorities that the citizens have told us.
Thank you, Mr. Bowers. And Mr. Mims, the same question. What should be the priorities for spending Dayton's share of the American Recovery Funds?
Well, I'd start off by saying, first of all, the guidelines have not been completed from the federal government. And as we look at the whole issue in terms of what we need to do, we again have been involved in the process, and we started very early in finding out what each particular neighborhood wants. So we've had a series of meetings throughout the neighborhood to find out what are the priorities that individuals have discussed in those settings. And again, having been in Dayton virtually all my life and having been in all parts of the city, including my neighborhood and also Mr. Byers' neighborhood, there's certainly not a war zone. I think that most people would take offense to that particular comment. While there's need to make sure we improve the quality of life in all of the neighborhoods that we have, the movement has been very progressive, and it's not been something that's done overnight, because you can't fix these situations overnight. Citizens have told us clearly, with all the different neighborhoods that have been involved in these processes, about their priorities in terms of safety, which has been happening, their priorities in terms of how we create better conditions for the young people in school with regards to our preschool education program, to make sure that our young people are feeling quality of life opportunities when they go to school and in a better position to be successful. Additionally, these dollars have to be, some of them honed and put in position of reserve, because we're not sure how the work from home, because of COVID, is going to affect our future income. So I think it would be foolish and irresponsible for the city leadership to just go out and expend all those dollars seemingly overnight to address a lot of programs. Because many of the programs that we're working on that are of concern have had massive improvement in over the last 6-7 years.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mims. And Mr. Mims, we'll start with you for the second question. Okay. The pandemic has brought new awareness of the social, economic, and health inequities in our community. What steps will you take to address these disparities?
Well, first of all, this whole situation is something that should have been prevented because of the awareness that our national leaders had. It was mishandled by national leaders. There was unnecessary conflict between the experts in terms of medicine and science that caused way too many people to lose their lives, my mother being one of those. As I go further in saying that common sense and science and in regards to medicine and taking, recommendations from experts are the kinds of things that we've tried to do at the city. We've put things in place such as masks, mandating masks. We're asking everyone to get vaccinated and creating programs for those as well. Even negotiating with our labor groups so that those who are not vaccinated to be tested and to pay for those testing situations, and also ask them to wear masks. It's not just about you protecting yourself, but it's about you also protecting your family members and also protecting citizens. While you have a right to not be vaccinated, you have a right not to wear your mask if you choose not to do so. You do not have the right to take an illness and give it to someone else unsuspectingly. So we have tried as a city to make sure that we move things along those lines. It's been a real detriment for our employees. It's been a detriment for employers in cities, restaurants, etc. And finding the best set of common sense things by passing ordinance to have more outside opportunities for our restaurants so they can still make a living. Has been many of the things that we've done, and all these things we've done with the input of all the business leaders and also with those owners of those respective restaurants. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Okay, and Mr. Bowers, the same question. The pandemic has brought new awareness of the social, economic, and health inequities in our community. What steps will you take to address these disparities?
Well, I was very saddened to see Good Samaritan Hospital abandoned and then torn down extremely quickly. It just raised all kinds of questions. And I am encouraged that I see construction going on in West Dayton for healthcare facilities. I think that's a very, very good thing. But I know the people that we've knocked on their door feel like the Good Sam thing was a very, very bad thing. And I agree with them, although I don't have all the information and the financial situation that led to that decision. So I'm not in the know there, but the result of it being torn down and losing a healthcare facility during a pandemic, I think it was the wrong message and really was a very, very bad thing for West Dayton. I am thankful for the Dayton Fire Department. We have a robust EMS and paramedic system. We're one of the best in the country in terms of treating and analyzing and transporting patients. Dayton does have a very good hospital situation. We have great hospitals. We have great doctors. Our transportation system to get people to the hospital is very, very good. Our response time, as far as the Dayton Fire is what I know better than anything, because I was 30 years in that, is one of the best in the country. So I agree with Mr. Mims that many, many mistakes were made at the federal level. Confusion in the messages, Dr. Fauci contradicting himself time and time again, CDC giving contradictory guidelines time and time again. And so I think we're doing much better now that we've moved through the first year of this. So I'm very, very thankful for that. I am not opposed to masks. I'm not opposed to vaccines. My wife and I have had COVID. We both have the antibodies, and science is now telling us, they told us at first it lasts two months. We've had them for a year and a half. Now they're saying they think they'll be a lifetime. So we're still learning a lot. I know my time's up, but that's it.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Bowers. And I'll have you start with the third question, Mr. Bowers. What is the most pressing fiscal issue, financial issue, facing the city of Dayton?
Yeah, well, Mr. Mims, rightly points out that there is some uncertainty in terms of tax dollars because of the pandemic and because of people working at home. There have been estimates to $10 to $20 million shortfalls. I'm more optimistic than that, as I've talked to businessmen and also have found out by going door to door all the people that are working at home in the city of Dayton. So we'll find out how bad it is, if it's a $10 million shortfall or much, much less than that. I guess we'll find out. But we need to grow the economy. There is no doubt about that. That's the answer to financial problems. And we need to be a safe city in order to attract business. We need to use our natural resources. We're sitting on one of the largest aquifers in North America. Our water resource is way underutilized. Industry needs water. People in the West are undergoing a tremendous drought. Businesses in the West are looking to relocate where there's good water. Dayton has good water. We're on the 5 rivers, even though all 5 rivers don't flow through Dayton. We're one of the few areas in the world that can boast of 5 rivers. So I want to see us use our water resource to attract business. It takes 20 gallons, I got some stats here, 20 gallons of water to make a pint of beer. That's why all the microbreweries are starting up in Dayton. We have tremendous water. It takes 37 gallons of water to make a single cup of coffee. It takes 180 to 320 gallons of water for a 2-liter bottle of pop. So we have water resource and we have people resource. This was the tool and die capital of the world, a very skilled trade. There are skilled tradesmen in this city still. We need to utilize, we need to use the blue collar resource that we have here in Dayton and wet it with the high tech resource that we have with all these universities, and we can be the small business capital of Ohio.
Thank you. Okay, and Mr. Mims, what is the most pressing fiscal financial issue facing the city of Dayton?
Well, again, I'll go back to the issue dealing with the dollars and the uncertainty relative to too many individuals being affected because of the pandemic and potentially staying at home. We received a tremendous amount of our income as far as the city is concerned by income tax. And much of the income tax is because of individuals who do not live in Dayton, but live outside of Dayton. So that's just a known fact. It's pretty much a positive issue as well. While we have these set of circumstances that are extremely positive, we also look at so many of the resources. And Mr. Bowers, thank you. Thank you for mentioning, so many great things that we have going on in Dayton. And those things are going on for a reason. Because in the city of Dayton over the last 8 years, we have led the region in terms of job growth that has brought, more and more citizens to the city of Dayton. The safety factors that cause us to feel, well, not just feel, but demonstrate the vitality that Dayton citizens deserve to have. The arcade brought back to life, for example, to have the Levitt Center that's new. I mean, one of 15 in the nation to have a Levitt Center. The transformative information that led to us moving the arcade back to a point of vibrancy is something that is going to be world renowned because of all the other businesses that are moving to Dayton because of those particular assets. Those things did not happen in a city that was blighted, did not happen in a city that was not showing any type of progress. Those things happened because we were moving in the right direction faster than any other city. And in 2015, we did receive, the award of an All-American City, not because everything was perfect, but because we had so many great partners who were accelerating the success of Dayton and moving it to a position where each and every citizen in Dayton was having the opportunity to improve the quality of life for themselves and for their families.
Thank you, Mr. Mims. Okay, so in closing, we would like to provide each candidate with a minute for a closing statement. And we'll start with Mr. Mims.
Okay, hey, thank you very much. Again, my work experiences as a newspaper boy with Dayton Daily News going way back, as a janitor at Dayton Press, McCall's, as a punch press operator, and then with degrees from Central State University, Wright State, and additional education from the University of Dayton. Having been a union leader, having been a school leader, having been a national organization or been with national organizations to move the largest project in the state of Ohio to cities and to schools, the $528 million project to build all new schools in Ohio, and then specifically, in Dayton, Ohio. But I was also the lead lobbyist to bring all those programs to the state of Ohio as well because of the school funding lawsuit. So the set of skills that I have are just unmatched. There's no candidate, period, that has my skills, that has my background, and has my level of success in dealing with diverse people and diverse communities all over this state. Thank you again. And I am the person to be the next mayor for the city of Dayton because, again, I am unmatched in terms of skills and qualifications.
Thank you, Mr. Mims. And Mr. Bowers, 1 minute for a closing statement.
Well, Mr. Mims boasts about his great qualifications, but as we've talked to the people in this city, they're not impressed. They don't believe, like he says, that the city is just this wonderful place that's flourishing. They believe the neighborhoods have been neglected. The city commission has been unresponsive to their needs. People are very, very upset that we've lost the amenities that made the city a great place, our golf courses, our parks, that there's nothing for children to do. He was president of the teachers union. He's opposed to, he's locking children into failing schools. You have a one-time opportunity to be educated. And when your schools are the worst in the state and in crisis, I don't see how you can boast about being the president of the teachers union. The money went to the teachers. We want the money to follow the students. So Dayton is ready for change. That's what the citizens are telling us. They're fed up with this city commission and the investigations by the FBI and the corruption and felony convictions. They're ready for integrity and change and a forward-looking vision, which I am a crisis manager. That's what I've done my entire career. Dayton's in crisis. I will be the next mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bowers. Thank you both for your participation today, and we wish you good luck in your campaigns. The League of Women Voters encourages all candidates to run an issues-oriented campaign. Our goal is to educate the voting public and strengthen our elective political process. The annual Voters Guide that we are known for will be distributed mid-October in the Dayton Daily News, AIM Media, suburban newspapers, La Vanguardia, and at local libraries, schools, and businesses. Early voting for the upcoming primary begins October 5th at your Board of Elections, or you can request an absentee ballot. However you decide to vote, your opinion matters and helps make our democracy work. Thank you.